In today's video, I am going to be doing a final flip through of my 2025 reading journal setup, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Tracy and I'm a girl with plans. So this is going to be the final video of my 2024 reading journal series. I have filmed 3 previous videos. I will have them all linked in the reading journal playlist, which I will link down in the description box. The first 2 videos were featuring this journal and a few pages that I set up, like my bookshelf, some reading tracker pages, some challenge pages, and things like that. And then in the third video, what I did is I showed you guys some of the supplemental journals that are going to help me keep this bad boy down in size. I have a kind of readathon, I guess it's readathon / challenge journal, where it's going to be like those ongoing readathons that last multiple years. The magical readathon is one of those that you can use as an example. And then the other one is a book where I will be keeping my completed series reviews. So I had wanted to do that in the journal, but then I realized a lot of series I read books within that series over the course of several years. So I'm like, let's just create one journal that houses my thoughts on those series. So that's what I did. I had the journals laying around, so I figured let's just go ahead and create it. So if that's something that interests you, then definitely check out those videos. But today we're going to do a final flip through of this one. As you can see, she's thick. Hopefully these are enough pages to get me through the next 12 months when it comes to book reviews and monthly stats and things like that. All right, so I'm using a B5 Archer and Olive dot grid notebook. This was one of their special all white versions that they kind of went on sale for the general public earlier this year. And then they realized that there was a lot of issues with the cover. There's discoloration on it. So then they refunded us the price, but let us keep the journal. So yeah, I figured this was a good use for my reading journal, especially because I found these really cool pirate ship and under the sea type stickers to put on it. And then here is the back. When I was doing the setup, I only had 1 sticker on it, so I've since added a lot of stickers, but I really like how it looks. All right, so now I'm going to start with the flip. I am not going to go through where I got all the stickers from. I'll just say everything, even this is digital paper that I got from Etsy and then printed. So a lot of things came from Etsy, Creative Fabrica. I have a pirate themed sticker book. Let me see if I can find that. I can at least show you that. Here we go. Under the Black Ship. I got this from Timo. So you'll see some of these in here as well. So I pretty much got them from a variety of places. A lot of them are printables though. All right. So yeah, this is just the main page. And then I created a title page. The one thing I did after filming this is I went ahead and did a background using my distressed ink and stamps and stencils. So a lot of times I have these stencils like this. So this is kind of what I used. And yeah, I liked how it turned out. I wish I would have chose something a little bit more tan and a little less yellow. But we just went with it. You'll see I stuck to the same ink throughout. Once you start, you got to keep going, right? But overall, I liked how this turned out. See? And this is my ratings page. So ignore this right now for a moment. We'll get to it. I'm going to go over everything with you guys. So over here is, I guess, my fire meter or maybe my spice meter. I have these little icons. Can you see them? I printed them from Canva. So you have mild, medium, hot, and extra or fire, however you want to say it. So, when you're reading those dark romance books or something like that, then sometimes you want to rate how spicy things are or how steamy things are. I also had to write, if there isn't a rating, why do I not have a rating? And that's because there really wasn't any spice or steam. There might have been reference to it or insinuation, but nothing really that makes you turn red or anything. So mild, it's a book that has mostly plot, but there are a few scenes that are kind of PG-13 to rated R type thing, but it's kind of fine. Then medium, we're getting into the not safe for work category, but there's still a good balance. There's a good balance. There's still a lot of plot. A lot of it is still plot driven. Now when we get to hot, it's not really plot driven anymore. It seems that there are scenes added just to add the scenes. But there's still enough of a plot to at least hold my personal interest to keep me reading, sometimes. And then extra spicy or fire, however you want to say it, it's like, was there even a plot? And now I'm like clutching my pearls here. Those are probably books I might not stick with, because I am someone who enjoys the plot. Now, last year I chose 5 categories to rate my books on. And then what I did is I rated those on a scale of 1 to 5. And then I divided that number by 5. And that's how I got my ratings. So, and I found that they were pretty on par with how I rated them anyway. The only difference are some of those books that I would be thinking about a 2.5 star. A lot of times it ended up being more of a 3 when I did my rating. So this is the same ones I had last year, and I never realized that it created a word. Yeah, and it created the word spice. Now, this just kind of came, I was like, oh, because at first I was thinking, oh, Pisces. I'm like, spice is so much better than Pisces. So it's style, plot, intrigue, characters, and enjoyment. That is the same exact thing that I did last year, so I didn't try anything else. And now all of a sudden, look, it forms a word. So style is the overall writing style, the pace, the flow, the world building, all that type of stuff. So you can think of that as writing style. Plot is, I mean, there's really not much to explain. For me, is it easy to follow? Is it interesting? Is it well developed? Like, I don't want to have to think too much unless that's like the author's goal. If it's like a complicated storyline, then that's different. But sometimes it's not a complicated storyline, but I still have to think too much. That's usually when things go awry. Intrigue is, did I have a hard time putting it down? If I have to keep flipping the pages, if I stay up later than I want to, then that's going to kind of increase the score when it comes to intrigue or interest. Characters, likability of the main character. Do I like the main character? And the main thing is the connection to the characters. Is there a connection, whether it is an evil character, a good character? Am I like, do I care about them? Do I care to see what happens to them? Because there are some characters I could care less about. But if, you know, I feel some type of connections, even to the ones I don't like, then that obviously will be a higher rating. And then E for enjoyment, it's like, how did it make me feel? Sometimes really bad books I actually enjoy, which is kind of how it goes from a 2.5 to a 3 star. And then I just kind of like, I don't really give much 2 stars, because if it's something that's that bad where I'm going to rate it a 2, I probably am not going to finish it. A 2 or a 1 is going to be probably one of those. It's going to be hard for me to finish. So I didn't even include those here. So like, just like, basically I'm going to draw my stars from these, but just to kind of give you guys an idea, a 5 star is a book I can't stop thinking about, and it's one of those rare books that I actually reread. I am not someone who rereads a lot of books, but those are ones I would reread. The 4 stars are page turners. I loved it, but it's not a reread type book. It's like, it's a one and done. Like, you know, I read it. It was great. Let's move on. And 3 stars, just okay. Nothing special or memorable, but it was enjoyable. And then obviously I rate a lot of half stars, 3/4 stars, quarter stars. So that kind of goes in. That's why it's usually 3 is pretty much one of the lowest that I did. But there we go. That's my rating system. So that's how I'm going to get my star ratings. And then here are my goals. So I'm just going to color these in. I am going to color code them. This is what this is for, but I'm going to fill it in as I go. So that way I'm not creating categories that I end up not filling in. And how I'm going to do this is by source. So is it Kindle Unlimited? Is it a Libby ebook? Is it a library physical book? Is it a book I own? Things like that, because I just kind of want an overall picture of how most of my reading is done. But like I said, I want to take it a step further than just physical book and ebook. I actually want to know where I'm getting that book from too, because getting it from Libby is free, but getting it from Kindle Unlimited, I'm paying a monthly fee. So I just kind of want an overall picture. And the reason why I'm not going to do it in advance is because like I know I'm going to do Kindle Unlimited and Libby and things like that. But am I going to do Spotify? Am I going to do Audible? Am I going to do a library physical book? I don't know. So I don't want to like pencil those in yet. So I just figured I'll just go. I'll just choose the color as I go. And when I choose my color, if it's like a Tombow or a marker that has a number on it, then I'll write the number over the color swatch just so that way I can find that same exact one again. So I put 75 just because I want to kind of be on par with how I was this year. This year isn't over at the time of filming this video, but I'm over 70. So we're getting there. However, 52 is kind of that number that it's like, that is kind of a goal, but then I feel like I should kind of improve upon this year. So that's why I did 75. We'll see. I don't really care, to be completely honest. This is just something to keep track of how many books I'm reading, so I don't have to keep going back and counting them. But this really is very low for me. All right. So, but when it comes to my hardcore reading goals, I want to finish 3 series. That number is low because there aren't a lot of completed series that interest me. I am going to hopefully read Throne of Glass this year. And there's like a few more, like the Belladonna series. So there's 2 right there. But there's just a lot of series that are not completed. So that's why it makes this one so hard. I definitely want to read at least 1 book that I own each month. So I have kind of purchased quite a few books in 2024, so I want to get through reading those. And that's why I said 12, because the idea was 1 a month. However, I would like to read more than that a month if I can. I want to read books from 5 different main genres. I'm going to be tracking things a lot with subgenres, but here I'm talking more about the main genres because I want to read a variety of books. I know I'm a fantasy girl. Most of my books are going to be fantasy, but I like to hit a few others along the way. I want to complete 3 challenges and complete 4 readathons. That might have needed to be swapped. Like it should have been probably like 3 readathons and 4 challenges, but we'll see. We'll see. And then here are my annual stats. So you can see I have made icons to put here. All of my icons come from Canva. So this is different from 2024. I just wanted a place where a lot of the stats that I keep on the monthly pages, I wanted to have them in one place so I can compare it between the months. I just feel like it's interesting. So like I have total books finished, the number of physical books, the number of Kindle or ebooks, and then the audiobooks. And again, this is going to be finished books only. Then the total pages read, so that will be your physical or your ebooks only. And then the audio is the hours listened. That is referring to audiobooks. So I do not count the pages that a audiobook is. I only count the hours. And then I want my average star rating for the month, my average spice rating for the month, how many books I DNF'd, and how many are incomplete. But incomplete is probably not the right word. It's more of how many books have I started that month that I know I'm going to finish the next month. So it's not going to be in my total finish, but I kind of want to like keep count of it here. All right. Now I'm at days read. So this one, I have been going back and forth with how I want it to track it. So I do track this also on my monthly calendars that I create. I put like little dots to indicate what book is what. And then I put that same color dot for every time I read that particular book. And that's how I monitor how many days I read that month. I don't know how I want to do it here. I'll create a key. This is going to stay a blank page. So if I do a key, it's going to be small. What I had wanted to do was like the percent that I finished of a book. I feel like that's kind of like a telltale sign of like, sometimes I read faster, sometimes I read slower, sometimes I'm distracted. So, I mean, I feel like that's a true indication of how I'm reading. But then it gets complicated of what if I'm reading a book on my Kindle, but I'm also listening to a different book on audio. Like, do I just combine them? How do I figure it out? You know, it just gets complicated. So I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of up in the air. The other way is I could do time spent reading because that would be an easier kind of, that would be something easier to gauge. And it's not something as exact. So I don't know. If I did hours, it would probably be like less than 1 hour, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4 or more. And then there's whatever I choose to do. I'm going to have one category that's going to be unknown. That means I read, but I don't know. So that's the thought process there. And then you guys saw me do my bookshelf. I think there's enough for 100 books here. So I went ahead and pasted down some categories, but I might take these up because I don't like having them already here. I think I would rather create the categories as I go. So I think I'm going to remove these. I don't like pre-doing my categories, but this is all going to be subgenres and not main genres. So I definitely want to break down, like I read so many fantasy, it'll be like almost one color, but I definitely want to break it down. Like for fantasy, I would like romantasy, dark fantasy, maybe a fairy tale retelling. I also think you have like regular just fantasy that has the romance in it, but it's not necessarily romantasy. So like there's like at least, there's so many even in the fantasy genre alone. And then the same with like romance. I don't read a lot of romance novels, but like you can even say like hockey romance, paranormal romance, you know, dark romance. There's just so many of those as well. So I really do want to capture the subgenres. So then I showed this one already. This is something that I created 100% in Canva. I did add title stickers and then I added my star rating stickers. I also created the star rating stickers in Canva, but the background and the frames were all created in Canva. The frames were layered on top of the background in Canva, and then I printed it out on one sticker sheet and laid it here. I have 80 books on these 2 pages, not 100 like I thought. The frames are a little bigger than I thought, but if I need space, I may do a tip in from the top, so that way it'll be like a page down and you can lift it up, or I could do a tip in from the side or in the middle. We'll see. That's only if I read over 80 books. I don't read a lot of short books. Like I don't read manga or anything like that. So it is hard for me to read a lot of books. So 80, we could see. Watch me read like 82 or something crazy just to make my life difficult. And here's my book battle. Again, I did add 2 more stickers here because it was like this big old blank spot, and then they fit perfectly. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to handwrite the books that are my favorite for the month, and then we come out with the winner for each quarter, and then a first half of the year versus second half of the year winner. And then that will be my favorite book of the year. I will be putting a picture of the book of the year somewhere on here at the end of the year. And then this one was the one where I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do this for the longest time, but I ended up using distressed ink to do water. And then there's my little pirate ships and rough seas. I don't know if they're battling or what they're doing, but these are the books that have been thrown overboard and been bitten by sharks. I don't DNF a lot of books, so hopefully this is enough. If it's not, then I'll just add some more, or hey, I can do another tip-in. I haven't done a tip-in this year. I'm going to have to for my book, for my gallery wall for 2024. But yeah, so we'll figure that out if it happens. But I just plan on writing the title of the book, the day I stopped reading it, and the percent that I was at when I DNF'd. And then this is going to be my 5-star read. So because I was using distress ink, I didn't want to do a different theme over here. So I just carried the water over. And then like, let's do a treasure chest because those 5 stars are like treasures. So I have jewels. I guess the jewels are falling down because they're heavy. They wouldn't really float, I don't think. They would sink to the bottom. So they're just falling down, but I'll put photos of my 5-star reads here. Hopefully I will have some. Here's my series tracker. This one was tough to make because I changed how I wanted to do things. So I actually had done everything as single lines at first, and I just don't have the writing for, I don't have the handwriting for single lines. It just looked like a hot mess. So I cut out a part of a page in my current journal because I know I'm going to have pages left over. Now I'm at that point where I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a few pages left over in my journal at the end, so I can start cutting some of those out when I make mistakes. So I just put it over here and you can't even tell. So just, if you're nervous about doing bullet journaling, there are ways to hide mistakes. And then I went with the wider 2 by 2, I guess is what you want to call it, boxes. I like the way it looks a lot better. It is going to limit my space though. So I'm not going to put a series on here until I start reading the second book, because there are a lot of series I start and then I'm not sure if I want to finish it. And then there might be like a new series I read in 2025, but the second book isn't going to come out to 2026. So I'm not going to add it here. I'll be adding that in my 2026 one, right? But there are a few on here I haven't started yet, but I actually own the book. So like Throne of Glass, Belladonna, Magnolia Parks, I own those books. So I wanted to go ahead and put them on here. I put little stars beside them, so that way I'm kind of marking that those are the ones I own. And then the ends are a novella. I don't think Throne of Glass is Assassin's Blade. That's not a novella. That's just a prequel. So I need to white that out. Actually, I got to put paper over it because I want to color it in and white out and mess it up. So I'll put paper over it. And then what I'm going to do is, if I read it in 2025, it's going to be a lighter color than this. If I DNF, it'll probably be a darker color. And then I'll do lines if it's not released. So they're like, if it's just going to be something that isn't going to be released in 2025, I'll do that. So you guys saw me create this. However, I have since added in all of my books. These are the books that I currently own. There's actually a few more on here, or that I need to add on here, but I think we're good. I think this is enough to get started. So this is just to track, am I reading my physical bookshelf? So I'm just going to color in after I read the book. So hopefully this will be pretty colorful by the end of the year. And then this is the author backlist. So these are some of the authors where I really enjoyed some of their books this year. So I figured I would write some of the series that they have to see, you know, if I'm like in a reading slump or something like that, these might be a good place to start to get out of that slump. So I don't know that I'm going to read it, but I like to have ideas. So there we go there. And then I have book clubs. So I recently, I use Storygraph. That's my primary app for tracking my reads. But I just started reading, I just signed up for Fable as well. That's also an app. And Fable has a lot of book clubs. And I think book clubs are a good way to kind of like narrow down what books you want to read. Like right now, I've finished a book and now I don't know what I want to read next. But that's why I think book clubs come in to play. Book clubs, challenges, and things like that. It kind of gives you maybe like 4 or 5 possible options for what to read next. And that's why I really enjoy them, because I'm very indecisive, but I'm also a mood reader. So that just makes things so difficult. So the ones that I am following on Fable is Who Did This to You Book Club and Romantasy Forever. Those are both pretty much like fantasy romance type book clubs. I'll write the title of the book that they're reading, and then I put a check mark if I read it with them that month. And then Joshi Corin's, I can't remember, but it's BBBC book club. I put that there because she also does a lot of the fantasy type stuff. So I did do book clubs that feature the books that I like to read. And now we are back to we are now going to look at my challenges. So I did both of these on camera. The only difference is I had mentioned that I was going to print letters that were similar to the title. I didn't. I decided just to use these gold alpha letters that I found in a Happy Planner sticker book, and I'm really glad I went with the more simplistic version. Yes, it's gold. Yes, it's hard to see, but I think it looks better than if I did that. I did complete all of my prompts for book bingo. I did not give myself a free space because it's 25 and we're in 2025. So I was like, no free space this year, but I did put 5-star prediction in that space. So a lot of these came from Four Paws in a Book. She has a YouTube channel or a booktube channel, and she's the one that created this like 2025 bingo board. But there were a few that I didn't choose from her. So then I threw in some other ones that I had seen. But I'll just go ahead and read my prompts that I'm using. A 2025 release, a one-word title, involves travel, number in the title, cover by, seasonal book, starting new series, favorite author's newest release, hyped book, color of the year, POC author, novella, 5-star prediction, comped, and that means comparable to another one. So it's a book that is compared to another book. Like a lot of books are now compared to A Court of Thorns and Roses or Fourth Wing. So one of those books will be the one that you would read, the one that people are comparing to those famous popular books. A friend recommendation, over 400 pages, a special edition, has chapter titles, source of light on the cover, published before 2015, snakes on the cover, self-published, new to you author, TBR vet, and from another challenge. And then here we have a new to me challenge. I think it's a brand new challenge. It's again, Joshi Corinne, the Year of Goober. I will have their YouTube channels linked down in my description box. And I will try to find the videos where they kind of go over these challenges just in case you guys are interested. But this one, it's a very, very simple one. So if you're new to challenges, this one is very simplistic. There are even some on here, like for March, it says random pick. So you can pick whatever you want. And there are 2 options for each month. I went ahead and honed in on one for every single month because for me, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But like I said, some of these were pretty simple anyway, but I figured I'm going to just go ahead at the beginning, hone in on one and go for it. So what I will do is I will print out the covers and put them over the flower as I read them. And then buzzword, this was the one challenge that I completed in 2024. This is from Books and Lala. I think this has been going on for a few years. I loved this challenge. It really got me to reading some books in some different genres that I would not have typically read. And some of them were really good reads. Really enjoyed most of the books that were kind of out of my wheelhouse or out of my norm. I even penciled in some of the books that are on my TBR already that fit to some of these prompts. So I'll kind of go over these prompts with you. If I do like this, then that means the word that I'm saying has to be in the title. So like January is truth and lies, but that can be a little different. So it can be liars, lying, stuff like that. February is water words. March is thing. April is animals. May is two and two, so TO and TOO. June is memory words. July is punctuation. August is with. September is events. October is violent words. November is never. And December is alliteration. Books and Lala is also doing a cover, like a buzzword, or I don't know how she's calling it, but a cover challenge where each month there is a prompt for the cover. So is the cover monochromatic? Does the cover have a snake on it or something like that? I'm not doing that just because I am an ebook reader. But I think these are more than enough for me. But definitely check out her channel because there's a lot of fun ideas. These challenges are great. I highly recommend them. Even if you're, I would even recommend them if you're not a heavy reader, because it's not necessarily about completing the challenge. It's just like in those months that it's a struggle, it is nice if you see like, oh, water words. And like if you go into Storygraph, there are challenge pages and people sign up on day one and then they recommend books that fulfill that prompt. And they're like, when I went on there, like the next day after she announced it, some of these prompts, like for January, there's already like 500 and some suggestions on there. So it's a really good place to kind of like get ideas for books. Then we have a new to me idea. I got this off of, I don't remember who, I'm so sorry, off of a booktube video. It's a travel log. And this is going to log all the places I visited in my books, which mostly are going to be magical worlds and magical realms. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write the place in the circles. Obviously, I read more books than there are circles, but if they are I don't know. Maybe if it's one book and they visit multiple places, I'll put it in one circle. I think the bigger circles, I guess I'll reserve it for a book where they do visit a lot of places, or I might just put multiple places in there. I'll add other circles as needed. We'll see. I think it could be fun, but this might be a one-time only thing. We'll see. And then I wanted a place to track my actual readathons, because the readathons are so like, these people that do the readathons, they create like graphics for them and like so much fun stuff. That's why I have a separate journal for that, because if I did it in this, I was really worried about having enough pages. So because they're being housed in a separate journal, I would like to keep track of the ones that I complete here, and I'm just going to write them in the clouds. All right, before I get to my January setup, because I have set up for the month of January, I'm going to show you what I have in the back of my book. So this is just like my reference area. So like I had a piece of scrap for my gallery wall. So what I did is I put the measurements in here so I know kind of what size I need to print the photos. Even though they're all a different size, I'm probably going to go with the smallest one and print them all that size. The same thing with the Year of Goober readathon. I printed out one of the images that I already had and had it sized down to the same size I have on my page, and then wrote what the height of the book needs to be to fit in there. Same thing with the buzzword. Once I figure out what size book I want to do for my reviews and stuff, I'll put this in here too. It's probably going to be 1.5. And I think that's what I did for my 5 stars too. And then here is just kind of me mapping out like a calendar, like if I want it to be like a certain size calendar, how many spaces to go and things like that. This is my new releases tracker. I wanted this in the back just because I don't want to have to be neat with it. And I feel like there's pressure to be neat with all these front pages. So yeah, this is also a place for me to have the monthly calendars. So when I go to create my own monthly kind of days read calendars, I can refer to this to kind of when I've set up that calendar. But I need to fill it out. There's some, I do screenshots when I find out about it. So there's some that I have on my phone that I need to transfer here. And then here's my maybe next. So again, I'm working from back to front. So that's why I started it on this page. It might go to this page if there's a lot on there. Mainly the main reason for this is obviously these are series that have been recommended or series that I've come across that I thought I would be interested in. So I wanted to keep a list. Again, I like to have books that I can refer to as possible reads. And then I also wanted to like note where I could get it from. So if it was a Kindle Unlimited book, I checked it. If it's available on Libby, I checked it. So some of them could be available on both places. It doesn't look like they are, but it could. And then if there's an audio version that is available, right now it's on Libby. I think if it's a paid app, I'll probably just do the initial. So if it's Audible A, if it's Spotify S, or something of that nature. So we'll see. Like I said, if this grows, then I'll go on this page. But I wanted to start here because I'm working back to front. All right. So now we're going to get into how I plan on setting up my monthly pages. I am not going to be doing a January setup video. I've already set up for the month of January. But come February, I will be doing a January reading recap. And I'll be doing a February setup. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But I'm going to have reading journal videos in January because I have to do a 2024 flip through and I also have to do a December reading recap. So here we go, y'all. This is how I have set up my January pages. So again, here's my calendar. So I can just flip here, see when the first and make sure it's 30 or 31 days and then create it here. So that's what I did. What I did is I printed out an image. I bought the sticker set that was a printable version from Book Nook's Prints. I think it's, yeah, Book Nook Prints. That's the handle on Etsy and on Instagram. So I did the full page printable, and then I actually cut out with my X-Acto knife the shape of the calendar as well as this little square here, so that way I can write directly on the page and not have to like stack it with another sticker. I just thought it would save it some bulk. Plus I kind of like the way it looks. I like the dot grid and stuff there too. So there we go. And then I wanted to put my to be read, but this is all my to be read, but these are the to be reads that are my personal TBR. I'm going to keep it small usually. I can't really say how many because I'm still filming this and there's like more than a week left in the month. I didn't want to go too ambitious because there's a couple of, I think, readathons that I'm still waiting on to come out. So my TBR is Onyx Storm because that comes out in January, and then the Assassin's Blade because, like I said, I want to start Throne of Glass. So this is reading challenges, readathons, and maybe some book clubs. Primarily, this is going to be reading challenges and readathons, and then I will throw the book clubs on here if there's space. So these right now are not taped. These are taped down. These I took the backing off. This I've not taken the backing off yet. I just have it attached with a washi because for the buzzword reading challenge for the month of January, as I said, it needed to have either the word truth in the title or the word liar or lies in the title, but it could be liar, lying, or whatever. So my top choice is An Academy for Liars, but my second choice is Society of Lies. Both of those had been on my TBR prior to this challenge even coming out. So that's why those two are going to be one of my reads. However, neither one of them are on Kindle Unlimited, and both of them have a 10+ week wait at my library for my Libby app. I'm like, come on. Now, I did get an email that I can get Spotify for like a couple of months for 99 cents. So I may end up doing that, but I'm going to wait closer to the end of the month to do that. So that might be an option, but that's my first choice. If I can't get that one, I do know the physical copy was available at my library, not of this one, but of Society of Lies. That one was available at my library, so I may be able to get that one if push came to shove. So we'll have to see. But I might have to go with a third option if those aren't available. And then for the Year of Goober, I just put Goober. But for the Year of Goober, it was a new to you. So I am picking a new to me author and a new to me series, obviously, Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. So I was trying to do a variety of books. These are all different types of books, so it should be a very interesting month. I believe at the Magical Readathon every year, so I came into the Magical Readathon late. I came in like late summer was when I discovered it. I found her BookTube channel, or YouTube channel, but they call them BookTube. I found her BookTube channel where she was talking about the fall equinox. And I'm like, oh, well, now I kind of want to go back and do it all. So I had been like trying to work on like doing all the initial stuff, but I didn't do her year-long one. But she has a year-long one. It is called, I think I printed something out with it. Oh, Adventures in Aledia. I might be saying that wrong, but yeah. So if she does that, that will go here for the January prompt. So these are the priorities. And then here would be like any of the book club picks. So that's how I'm doing it. And then I just threw the stickers down so I didn't have to worry about it, but this is going to probably be a lot more functional. So I want a lot of stats this year. I definitely am going to be up in my stats game. So I'm going to keep the stats that I had, which were pretty much the same stats that were here. So I'll keep them on the monthly overview because this is where I'm going to compute it and put it initially anyway. But I also want to kind of keep more stats on the actual, like where I am in a series. So how many books did I read that were part of a series? How many were just standalones or duologies? Because I'm counting duologies as separate than series. And then how many might be like companion novels? So they're like in the same world. So like Carissa Broadbent, she had the duology, I can't think of the name right now, but it's like The Serpent and the Wings of Night. So that one was part of a duology, but now she started another duology that's kind of in the same world. So it's kind of like companions. And then I also want to know, did I start a new series? Am I continuing with the series? And did I complete any series? Things like that. So this is one page is going to be all stats, and then the other pages is where I'm going to talk about my favorites, my least favorites, the longest, shortest, standout characters, favorite quotes, things like that. That will probably change. I don't think I'm going to do like pre-made prompts or anything because I think things could change based on the books I read. If I have a horrible reading month, then I may not have a lot of like memorable moments or favorite quotes. So I don't want to like set this all up in advance in case I don't have it. So that is that. And I think that's it. That is it for my 2025 reading journal. So yeah, I like it. I really enjoyed setting this up. I will say the one thing I did to set this up is I started setting this up like in early October. So this was like a 2.5 month setup process. And I really, really enjoyed the process because I would complete a spread or two and then put it away for a week or two and then come back and create another spread or something like that and then put it away. So there was like no pressure. And then I came in and created my spreads when I was like itching for some type of creativity. So it was really enjoyable to create and set up this particular journal. So that's something that I'm going to also probably continue doing for the types of bullet journals like this. Like a reading journal is kind of easy to set up, especially if it's your first time, it may not be because you're still trying to figure out what you want to capture. But if you've done it before and you kind of gotten into a habit, or you kind of know a template, you know what you want to include, then, you know, setting it up early is possible, and it kind of makes things a little less pressure and a little bit more fun. So that's what I did this year. And like I said, I really enjoyed the slow process of setting it up. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this particular video, as well as if you caught any of the other reading journal setup videos. I hope you enjoyed those as well. If you enjoyed this one, then please press that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you will consider subscribing. While I don't do a ton of like booktube type stuff on this particular channel, I do at least one reading journal video a month. So definitely be on the lookout for those. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.